Just go. No good, no good.
Hey guys.
All right, we are live and on the air. We are back. It is season 2. Season 2. Reached the terrible twos. I am joined, as always, by my good friends Aaron Simmons, and barely walking in the door to make it Zachary Brandevold, since I am sure Zach is still getting settled in. We'll start with Aaron. How the hell are you, Aaron?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I have been waiting for this day to start. I've missed this podcast. I've been missing for my things. I've been missing for my Tuesday nights to come back and be with my two best friends. And so I'm ready to get this podcast back underway, man. I'm excited for this season.
That is awesome. We are glad to be back on the air. Zach, how was the basketball game and how are you?
Wonderful. So we won. So that was wonderful. Micah put up a lot of points, so that's exciting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's also, I think we've talked before this, but it's nice to see your beautiful faces again.
We have talked, but appreciate the plug. Good to see you again,
Exactly.
dude. Glad you made it back here just in time to start the broadcast. What's that old saying? An inch is as good as a mile.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Sure. Except for you. For you it is, I'm sure.
Okay, so it looks like we got Jordan Martin tuning in. So, Suspect Dirt, thank you for tuning in. Appreciate it. Welcome aboard. I have got some links here that I need to share as we go through this because I got to get some stuff in Discord to let everybody know because I plastered this all over Discord to let everybody know that we were going to be live. And now I got to go back and give them the live links. But here's the deal for tonight. We do not have a race to review. So with no race to review, we are going to cover some of the news stories that we've gone through in the off season. And then we're going to get into some of our favorite memories. We're going to do a little bit of who's hot and who's not, or actually not. We're going to do red flag, green flag. But Zach, since you are here, do you want to start taking us through the news stories? And maybe we'll cover 5 or 6 of them and then save the rest for next week since we got a couple of weeks before we go racing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, we can do that. So first up on the docket here, excuse me while I get this on my phone really quick. First thing we got is M&M's is set to leave Joe Gibbs Racing after the 2022 season, leaving a big hole in Kyle Busch's sponsorship. Are there any concerns for Kyle Busch or Joe Gibbs Racing as a whole? Do you think? Aaron, do I want to start with you? Do you have anything on this?
Yeah, it certainly is going to leave a giant hole in Joe Gibbs' racing budget. I mean, M&M's has been with JGR for the longest of times. I think really ever since Kyle Busch has joined over there. And M&M's has been pretty much on the car throughout the entire season, throughout his entire career. And so it will definitely hurt him and hurt JGR's kind of wallet if, once M&M's leaves after this year. But luckily they are sticking around for this year. Hopefully they will find another main sponsor because it's Kyle Busch. He's gonna be up front. He's gonna be leading laps. He's gonna be winning races. And so their brand is going to be very well publicized. But then again, it is Kyle Busch. He's got a mouth that doesn't stop. So unfortunately, that's kind of the trade-off with him. But it is kind of sad to see M&M's go. I mean, they've been in sport for the longest time, and it'd be weird not seeing that yellow 18 or that yellow 36 out on the track anymore.
Yeah, he's not going to be the candy man anymore.
No, he's not. I mean, although I believe he still has Skittles though, so he can be the candy man, but just not as much.
Not as much.
Not as much.
This is like the most amicable breakup ever. They were together 15 years. They gave him a year's notice that they were not going to be sponsoring. That gives Joe Gibbs Racing a year to find other sponsors. If you saw the press release and the story that we're talking about, everybody had nothing but kind words to say about the other side. They talked about how their friendships and relationships will endure beyond racing. This is about as amicable of a breakup as you can get. I do love some of those paint schemes. I'm hoping maybe was it Purina or was it one of the dog foods that sponsored him and they had the dogs on the side of the car?
Oh yeah,
I love that. And they had the thing.
Oh, that was amazing.
So I'm sure Joe Gibbs Racing will come up with something and come up with some kind of phenomenal paint scheme. But I think they'll be fine. They got a year to get this figured out.
I hate to tell you guys this, but M&M's Mars as a whole is leaving. So that means all of its subsidiary brands, which includes Pedigree, Skittles, Snickers, it'll leave it a really, really big hole in his sponsorship.
So he won't be the candy man anymore.
No, he will not. I don't know if Nas is included in that as well. So I think, really his only confirmed sponsorship might be their shared sponsorship with Stanley DeWalt, or could be just Interstate Batteries as a sponsor just solely for Kyle Busch for next season, which is definitely a concern. Moving on into what I was gonna say, this is gonna be a huge hole to fill. There's no doubt about it. And if there's any trend that we've seen over the course of the past couple weeks, specifically with the Brandon Built Motorsports issues that they have had as well, even popular NASCAR drivers are struggling to find sponsorship, and a lot of them are turning to Bitcoin or other types of coins, digital currency sponsorships as well, and taking their salaries across that. So I think that might be a way that he could get sponsorship. But like you said, it's Kyle Busch. He'll find something. Joe Gibbs will find something. That they're one of the most dominant teams of the era of this decade here. So I'm confident that they can find something, but it's definitely scary for that. Moving along here, does anybody have anything last second to add? Okay, so moving along, Aric Almirola is retiring after the 2022 season. This got announced pretty recently. He raced he raced at SHR for the past couple seasons and has done well-ish. Who is set to replace him, and how big is this news? Tom, let's start with you.
It's a little bit of a surprise. He's 37, which is not that old to retire, but at the same time, he hasn't had great success. He's done okay. His best season was probably 2020 when he had a huge string of consecutive, I think, top 5 or top 10 finishes. But I think he's got 3 career wins. So it's a little early to retire. So that surprises me a little bit. But at the same time, he hasn't been setting the world on fire with performance. I don't know who's going to retire, who's going to replace him. I think it's going to be an interesting thing to play out. The 2 names that I've heard floated around, or not floated around, but seem obvious, are I think they signed Ryan Preece as a backup driver. So that's one potential. And then you've got Riley Herbst, who drives in the lower series for them. But he's kind of been unimpressive. I think if Riley Herbst is going to make a case to take over that 10 ride, he's got to step up and have the best year of his career this year, because I don't think he has shown it so far. So that's my take on it.
Absolutely. What about you, Aaron?
Yeah, like Tom, I'm not Rosa Price either. He is pretty young. Like Tom said, at 37, I thought he'd stick around for at least a few more years since he has that stable sponsorship. But maybe as said in on the NASCAR's webpage, he has a 10-year-old son and a 9-year-old daughter, and maybe he's going in the direction of Jeff. He wants to spend more time with his family. I mean, NASCAR is a very time-consuming and demanding sport. In case you guys didn't know, it is a lot of time, and as webpage is making a lot of noise. Yeah, it's a very time-demanding sport.
36 weeks a year. All of those 36 weeks involve weekends. They involve travel. You run from February till November. It's a grind. It's grueling.
That doesn't include the simulator work and all the shop work that some of these guys do as well, put in during the week as well.
Mm-hmm. And testing and getting ready for the season to start, which takes about a whole month, especially with the new car coming out. So it's even more time away from the family.
Yeah,
so with that, I completely agree with him. I mean, at this point in his career, he's probably made enough money to where he doesn't really have to race again to earn a paycheck. But still, I mean, it's gonna be weird not seeing him in the Cup Series anymore. I kind of got used to him being in there.
Yeah, I've always loved Aric Almirola since his Richard Petty Motorsports days and even DEI. He's I think been one of the more underrated drivers. He performed pretty consistently so far in SHR equipment, except for last season. But obviously SHR as a whole kind of went on a downturn. But it's going to be sad not seeing him on in the Cup Series next season. But I think this was one way that he could get funding for this season. I think he went to Smithfield and said, "Hey, this will be my last season. I just need you guys to support me for enough races in order to get me through, and then you're out, and you don't have to support me anymore, and it could be our swan song for both of them." I think this was something that he had to do because the writing was on the wall. This year it was unconfirmed, and next year was even more unconfirmed. And I think this was one way that they could just both step away and enjoy. As far as who gets in, it's going to be difficult to pick a driver. I mean, right now I don't think you can say any particular one. They might steal a driver from Colleague, Daniel Hemrick maybe comes to mind. He's been absolutely awesome, but At the same time, I think maybe they just go to 3 cars next season. It's becoming more and more expensive, even with the new car, to be able to produce. And sponsorships are becoming, like he said, sponsorships are becoming more and less likely to find. So I think that's a possibility, and they're able to support it a little bit better.
Hey, before we hit the next news story, let's give a shout out to a couple of viewers here and show a couple comments on you here.
Absolutely.
Jordan, my neighbor right across the street, tuning in tonight. Thank you.
How's it going,
Appreciate it.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah, if we ever need him to be on the show, he's literally across the street from me. So we can always get him on as a guest host. I can always just go knock on his door and say, here, put these headphones on. We already showed Craig Clark, Propane. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, but whatever. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks.
Okay. What else we got here?
Something Russian.
Jordan Martin saying Ryan Preece is going to be the guy. They signed him to a backup. He had a big win last year. Okay. Marketing genius, though. Got to show this.
Yep, I was just noticing that.
Natalie. Yeah. That's it. Preece's Reese's. Sponsoring Ryan Preece.
That would be awesome.
That would be
amazing.
Yeah.
I would love to see
marketing genius. I love it, Natalie. I love it. And
yes.
I have got a problem with the fan in my laptop, so that annoying buzzing sound, I'll try to mute my mic when I am not on the air. That's what that is. Hopefully we can get enough viewers and enough ad revenue that I can get a fan replaced in this thing. But it's going to be a little annoying. But I'll mute my mic when I'm not talking.
We're gonna put a GoFundMe that Aaron and I started in the chat. So please.
All right, keep going.
For just 5 cents a day, you can help a YouTuber in need of a new fan. Will you give your support?
We'll give you a T-shirt.
Look at him. Look at him. He's miserable.
We'll give you a T-shirt.
Aaron England has clearly seen our promo video.
Yeah.
JP Kelly tuning in. Thank you.
Aaron England, JP Kelly. Aaron, welcome back, brother.
All right. So the next big news segment that we have is an old face of NASCAR comes back to attempt the Daytona 500.
Oh, lordy.
Jacques Villeneuve.
Jacques Villeneuve is going
to. And no, this isn't the guy off of Talladega Nights. He is going to attempt to qualify and race in the Daytona 500 for this season with the new team Heitzberg Racing. That's the Dutch team that's new. That's going to try all the road courses this season. Number 27. Are you concerned that he'll be too aggressive in the face of the car shortages? Aaron, let's start with you.
Okay. So if all you new guys are new to NASCAR and don't remember Jacques Villeneuve, let me fill you in. He is a guy that you call on for road courses, called the road course ringers. You see guys like Boris Said, you see guys like Jacques Villeneuve, and a few other guys that have predominantly made their name on the road course circuit. Jacques Villeneuve, unlike Boris and unlike all these other drivers, had a reputation for rubbing his racing, as they say, and has gotten into a lot of drivers over the years and has caused a lot of wrecks from my memory. And he is going to be on a track that's notorious for having big time wrecks and for guys being over aggressive. To me, hopefully he's mellowed out a little bit, and hopefully he won't be as aggressive as he was back then. But I remember him just getting into everybody on a road course, causing all sorts of mayhem and carnage. And so I would be a little skeptical, considering how long it's been since he's been how long he's been out of NASCAR. But with the new car, hopefully it's going to be something a little bit more he can control better, or hopefully everyone's going to be a little bit conservative. And so hopefully he won't be concerned, but for right now, I am scared to death considering the news stories that we may be able to get into later on tonight. Tom, wait.
First, watch throwing around this stuff about old guy, okay? Villeneuve is 50. That's my age. Okay, so watch this throw around this old guy term. Okay, let's back up a second. Let's take a different take on this. Let's look at this. He is the 1995 Indy 500 champion, 1997 F1 world champion. Imagine if he pulls this off, because we all know it's Daytona. It's restrictor plate. It's a crapshoot. Literally anybody can win. How sweet would this be with, at 50 years old, he rounds out the resume with a crown jewel NASCAR win? Would that not be a fairy tale ending for a 50-year-old and a huge cap on his career? I mean, Racing Refresh says here, he's an F1 champ. He's an Indy 500 champ. Imagine if he wins this thing. It would be the biggest story to hit racing in a long, long time, I think, because it would make waves beyond NASCAR. So I hope he's not too aggressive. I hope it works out for him. But I just think the potential for what this could be, if the fairy tale comes true, is awesome. So there you go. And if it doesn't work, he and Paul Tracy in SRX, let them duke it out. Last man standing wins.
So I will say this is not going to be his first start on a restrictor plate track. In 2007, he started at Talladega and with Bill Davis Racing and the number 27. Coincidentally, that's where he's going. That's the same number he's going to be using at Daytona. And he finished 21st, so not bad. That next year, he also tried to qualify for the Daytona 500 in 2008 and failed to qualify. He does have several NASCAR Xfinity Series start. His most recent start would be with Phoenix Racing at Sonoma in the 51 in 2013. Other than that, he has Penske Racing experience. And like I said, he did qualify, or he did try and attempt to qualify. He did qualify for one super speedway race in 2007. I think it's going to be good. I think he's going to be a little bit more cautious than what everyone thinks he's going to be. But he has done several rounds of testing, so that's going to be important. Get some track time with the car. Who knows? I would love to see him up there. It'll be a little bit concerning, I think, for the other teams, not so much the 27 team as far as the extra cars go. Who knows? We'll see. But I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah, but also a sudden fun fact. Do you know the oldest winner of the Daytona 500 is and how old he was?
No. Go ahead.
Remember Tom said he was 50 years old?
Was it, oh my word.
It was Bobby Allison back in 1988, and he was 50 years old when he won it.
See?
Yeah, Racing Refresh got it. Racing Refresh got it. I see it down there. It is possible. But
Racing Refresh.
Yep, Racing Refresh. Y'all get a cookie. Y'all get this imaginary cookie right here. Y'all get it.
Look, I think this brings national attention. More eyes than already has, which is a lot because you get international eyes on the sport. I think it's going to be good for the sport. I think it'll be fine, and I think it might entice people to watch other races in NASCAR around the world. But
okay, before you go on, since we got the Racing Refresh comment up here, I want to do a shout out to those guys. Racing Refresh are some friends of mine. They've got an incredible website. Last year, they got credentialed as a official NASCAR media organization, so they get access to all the press conferences. They can get into about any place in a race that press is allowed. They have a lot of great content. They have a lot of great statistics, too. And they are going to do a 24-hour broadcast concurrent with the Rolex 24 coming up this weekend. I'm going to post a link to that. It's not live right now, but it will be. It's called racingrefresh.com/live. So I'm putting it out up there. So it's going to have a different variety of hosts coming in talking about different things, and it's going to run concurrently with the Rolex 24. So check it out. If you've got a little time on your hands, it's going to be great. I was part of it last year. It was a lot of fun. But at any rate, just want to give those guys a plug. great friends of mine, and they work their butt off to put together an awesome website. And link to their thing is in our chat right now. So I wanted to give my friends a shout out. Please continue on, Zach.
Absolutely. No worries. That's awesome. Yes, please go to that. I will be tuning in for sure. And it's nice to see Racing Refresh comments on there. So moving along though, the old Sonoma is coming back for the 2022 season. They're going to be removing correct me if I'm wrong, is it the carousel?
The carousel, yeah.
Yes.
Or carousel.
Thank you. Is this going to be good or bad for the drivers or fans? Tom, let's start with you.
They are saying that this is what the fans wanted, and they were trying to bring this back as kind of at fan request. I don't know that I've heard a lot of fans express one opinion or another on Sonoma. I think it'll be good to be something different. I think it'll be exciting. I think it'll cause people to have to adjust the course a little bit. I think it's going to add more high speed to Sonoma, and I think Sonoma has kind of been a little bit of more of the lower speed road course, if I remember right. But at any rate, I think it'll be, neutral, basically. I don't think it's going to be a huge splash, but it might be a little bit on the positive side.
What about you, Aaron?
I personally love the change because that short shoot, coming off of, I believe it's like what, 1, 2, 3, 4 of turn 4, and that's a pure 90-degree angle. If you don't hit it right, you're going to go face first into the wall, and so your car has to turn really well and really fast in order to make that corner work. And to me, that camera angle, when the cars get real close to that wall, real close to it, it's just a cool camera angle, and as a fan, I love to see it. And from what I'm seeing on here at Sonoma Raceway, they've heard from many fans and drivers how much they loved it when we raced the chute. And so for this next season, they're going to bring it back. And so I love that someone is listening to drivers and listening to the fans and say, you know what, we tried the carousel. You guys said your opinion. You didn't like it. Okay, so we'll go back to the old version. And so to me, I love that. I love to bring back the chute. I think it'll add a whole new batch of excitement for it. I'm a huge fan of it.
So unlike last year when NASCAR said, yeah, we really don't pay attention to what fans think or drivers think when they decide to tear up Atlanta, now they're saying they're listening to fans by putting the chute back in Sonoma. I'm thinking you listened to us on the little thing and you ignored us on the big thing, but.
Well, see, that was Sonoma listened to the fans, not necessarily NASCAR listened to the fans, but whatever.
Good point.
Yeah, We'll see how well Atlanta is this season. I am excited to see a new track, a new or redesigned track, but also I know we've had poor experiences with that over the past couple of years. So I've always, whenever I've thought of Sonoma, I've always thought of like the traditional. Let me turn that off. Give me 1 second.
Zach? Hello?
Did we lose Zach?
I saw Haley in the background, and then we saw no more Zach. So if they can't find the body, I'm blaming Haley. Because I clearly saw her in the background.
I'm here.
Oh, okay, good.
All right. Putting the dogs away. So, like I was saying, whenever I've thought of Sonoma, I've thought of the traditional. I thought of the traditional with the chute, and I'm so happy that they're bringing that back this season. It is going to be exciting to watch, and I'm glad that they listened to the fans. And Sonoma deserves all the praise, not NASCAR, for this situation. So, yes, I'm really excited to see that. Moving along, let's see. Hey, let's see. NASCAR fans.
I hope you just shush the dog and not Haley. So that's all I'm saying is I hope that was the dog you was talking to.
NASCAR fans are unimpressed with this sneak peek of the LA Coliseum track. Is this a warning for NASCAR that the LA race may not be a good idea, or is this just an overreaction? Aaron, let's start with you.
I'm kind of a little bit both. I mean, so far when NASCAR is of course a fan, they rely solely on their fans. If the fans don't like something, then the entire sport is going to hurt, and the sport's been hurting for a while. And so if the fans don't like it, then odds are they're probably not going to tune in for the race the entire duration, maybe like the first few laps and see how it goes, which is what I think a lot of us are going to be doing. But I think this may be a little bit of an overreaction because this track is going to be essentially kind of the same as Bowman Gray, and everyone loved Bowman Gray. And so for right now, I'm going to call it an overreaction until the race actually starts and people kind of see how that sort of racing is going to go. But with the car shortage that NASCAR has stated this year, it's not looking good for LA, in my opinion.
What about you, Tom?
Okay. The people that are seeing this, I read some of the comments, and it was, I don't see how this is going to work, and this is even smaller than I thought it was going to be. Okay, have you people never been to a local short track on a Saturday night? Most of your local short tracks are about a quarter mile in length, and you can line up 20 late models and have a feature there. This is the Clash. This is not 43 cars lined up going around a quarter mile bull ring. This is heat races and a feature race. You're not going to have 43 cars running around here. It's going to be a great show. You're going to have whatever it is that makes the final feature, 20 cars or whatever in a bull ring. It's going to be a great show. I think the people that have said that this is never going to work, just to be honest, I don't think they know what they're talking about. I don't think they've ever been to a local short track and watched the show that can be put on a quarter mile track. So I think it's a total overreaction, and people who have never been to a local short track race. So that's my rant.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with that. It's stupid and childish to look at a track and say, nah, they can't race on that. This could be terrible. You haven't seen anything. You haven't seen the racing product. I get it. You run a couple races on it, and then you realize, yeah, this was a mistake. But this has gotten, and based off of all the ad stuff that they've gotten and the ad space that they've sold, this is going to be a big deal. And I'm excited. I am not thinking that it's going to be a waste. I saw the track. It's small, but that's what short tracks are. So I'm excited. I'm ready to see it in action. And they might have some concerns with the cars, but I think all of them can get them rebuilt and take it easy at least a little bit.
And we are 11 days away. A couple of things here to share real quick with comments. Mike Cora, echoing my comments. A lot of people have never been to a local track. Jordan Martin saying more people need to visit their local track. Some of the best racing that never gets seen. Absolutely right.
Absolutely.
JP Kelly, I think, brings up an interesting point. Agreed, but what demographic are they trying to attract? I don't know that I can speak to the demographic, but I think they are trying to make a splash in a huge market that's both a huge population and huge media market by going to LA. Because keep in mind, the only track that they have in that area that they race at regularly is Auto Club. And because of the pandemic, and somebody fact check me in this, I don't think they've been to Auto Club in 2 years.
No, they have not been
They have not been to LA in 2 years. Sonoma is way up in the northern part of the state, and LA is clear down in Southern California. I don't know that I can speak to the demographic, but they're trying to make a splash in that LA market because they haven't been there for 2 years, and it's a huge market in terms of both population and media. So I can get where they're coming from, why they're trying to do that. But anyway, keep going. Let's hit one more news story, and then let's hit some of the other.
I was going to say something really quick about why they're going to why they're going to the LA Coliseum. It's because their fan base isn't getting any younger. They're trying to attract a younger crowd for as much as that's worth, so that way they can gain fans throughout their period. Going to a short track might be good for true racing fans, like going like to Bowman Gray or whatever. But the LA Coliseum gets them eyes, and I think that's what they're looking for. Moving along, let's do one more. I think.
Why don't we talk about the? Well, no, go ahead. Cover whatever you want. Pick one.
Well, I was going to talk about the Hall of Fame inductions because that's pretty big.
That's a huge story.
Yeah. So Dale Earnhardt Jr., Red Farmer, and Mike Stefanik were introduced into the 2021 Hall of Fame class. Big news, all great names, perfect additions, and just I can't think of a better class. What are your thoughts on this? Tom, let's go with you.
There were some comments I saw when it was first announced about people questioning Dale Jr., but honestly, I think those are just Dale Jr. haters. If you look at his resume, I think he has got more wins than any other driver not in the Hall of Fame, unless that driver is still actively racing. You throw in the 5 championships as an Xfinity Series owner, and I think it's a no doubt Hall of Fame resume. So I saw some people commenting that they didn't think he deserved to be in there when this was first announced, but I completely disagree with that. If you take the emotion out of it and say whether you hate Dale Jr. or love Dale Jr. and just look at the pure resume, I think he absolutely deserves to be in. I think the 5 Xfinity championships just seal the deal. I think it's great. Red Farmer, great guy. I love the fact that he's almost 90 years old, and his resume says how many wins he's got so far because he's still actively racing. So that was my favorite part of the read, is that it's like so far, and he's like almost 90 years old.
Absolutely. What about you, Aaron?
I think this is a fantastic class. Even though it is 3 drivers, I mean, these 3 drivers essentially kind of made the sport what it is and transmorphed that sport into like the more modern age. I mean, Junior, what needs to be said about Junior that hasn't already been said or documented or spoken? I mean, you got Red Farmer, the original Alabama gang. If you know anything about NASCAR's history, you know the Alabama gang was a group of drivers you don't want to race against because you're going to get beat. And then Mike Stefanik, one of the all-time best crew chiefs, it's just amazing. I mean, this is truly an amazing class and one that will certainly go down in history.
Yeah. I think Junior. Yeah, I don't think it's as controversial as people make it out to be. I mean, a lot of people say he got there on name recognition. He has done a lot for the sport, and I think that he's more than deserving. I think that opens the door for some of the other people who don't have very many wins, but have had a big impact on the sport to get in as well. So I think that he's going to pioneer that, and I think it's going to be good. And I'm glad that these 3 guys were able to get in. Moving right along, does anybody? Let's see. What is our next segment?
We're gonna hit green flag. Oh, sorry, I'm muted. We're gonna hit green flag, red flag next.
Okay.
So this is something you want to take us through, Samoans?
Yeah, sure thing. It's been a while. Hopefully, I still got the talent for it. All right, folks. Green flag, red flag. Green flag if we agree with the statement. Red flag if you apparently I don't have it anymore. Red flag if you disagree with the statement. People in the chat, please go ahead and put green flag or red flag if you want to. Go ahead and play along at home. And so we got 3 statements we want to get to tonight. Let's go and get into it. Green flag, red flag. Number 1, the lack of available chassis will greatly impact the quality of the early season racing. And this might be one of the most boring Daytona 500s ever. Green flag or red flag, Zach, we'll go with you.
I'm going to say red flag. I don't think that this is going to be as big of a problem as people think. If chassis are coming, they're going to get them built, and they're going to get them for future races. I think that the scare of not having enough chassis should not be a concern for teams, because then you're not going out there and trying to get a win. And I think a lot of these teams, even teams that might be actually just hanging around in the back, you're still going to have teams that are going for the win because it's their only race of the season or one of multiple races of the season that they're going to be playing along. There are going to be people fighting for the win, because Daytona 500 is arguably one of the biggest races, if not the biggest race of the NASCAR season, if not crown jewel. So I would say red flag.
Yeah, I'm going to say red flag too, for one simple reason. Okay, the guys that drive the car don't have to work on the cars. Okay, so they couldn't care less how many they wreck. They're going for a trophy and a big paycheck and to write their name in the history books. I say total red flag on this. It'll be just as exciting as ever, and people will be just as aggressive as ever because it's the Daytona 500. So red flag.
I want to go red flag too, but very kind of like a cautious red flag, because I think it will kind of depend on how the clash goes, especially being at a very short track, a bull ring over in LA. So I think the racing is going to be kind of tight packed for at least a little bit, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just overreacting to this. Maybe there's going to be no problems and everything's going to be hunky dory, but for me, I just can't get over kind of the, hey, these teams don't have as many cars as they said they would, like 2 per driver. They already have a bull ring and then a super speedway track. 2 tracks synonymous for tearing up cars. And so I'm not sure. I'm going to go red flag, but very cautiously.
Yes. You bring up some good points.
Okay, Jordan Martin with a comment here, and it's not a matter of money. It's just a matter of availability. Like, you couldn't get more than so many chassis if you had $1 billion. So it's more availability.
Yeah, again, these cars are not being built in shop anymore. They're being essentially brought in from a third party. And so it's really not up to the teams anymore. It's up to how fast, how quickly can that third party distribute those chassis. That's the issue. And
okay, so Zach, give Finn some airtime.
I was going to wait till later.
We got Mike.
Hold on.
Oh
my goodness! Oh, it's so cute.
Oh, that's Finn.
Oh, that is adorable.
Welcome to the show, Finn.
Yes. He's our mascot for the week.
Yeah, so Finn is officially our 4th member. I'm just saying it right now. Finn is the 4th member.
I'm his human chew toy because I'll come home and try and get all this energy out.
Yeah, it'll be for a while, man.
For Haley.
At least the first 4 years.
He's not liking it, but if I put him in his crate, then he's gonna whine, and I'm in here, and we're not gonna hear a thing. So
yeah,
it's okay. We love dogs. We're dog lovers. I have two.
Okay, all right. Sorry. Always allowed on here.
Yeah. All right. Sorry. Keep going, Simoleons.
Okay. Green flag, red flag. Number 2 of the night. The newly renamed Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing will reach victory lane in 2022. Green flag or red flag? Tom will go with you first.
I'm going to say green flag. I thought that Roush was a little bit off last year, but I don't think they were as far off as people thought. I think you're going to get Brad Keselowski in his prime and very hungry to prove that he didn't make a mistake by going there. And 36 races. There's a lot of ways to win a race. There's restrictor plate tracks. There's fuel mileage. There's pit strategies. There's all kinds of ways to win a race. They'll find a way to get in victory lane. They'll hoist a trophy somewhere during the race. And I've got somebody who is jealous of the screen time. Come up here, Sonny. Come on, Sonny. This is Sonny Dog. This is one of my Labradoodles.
Hello.
Oh, hi, Sonny. Hi.
Aaron, do you have a puppy?
Unfortunately, no.
Wow.
No, I don't.
So, all right.
I want one, damn it, but I just can't.
Eventually.
Eventually.
These questions must be like lobs down the middle. Everybody is going the same direction on him. So sorry, I jumped on that one. Keep going. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I'm gonna say green flag. Like Racing Refresh was saying, Brad is too talented to not win at least one race. I'm gonna say though, I think it's gonna end up being at a super speedway. I think it depends on what their engine program is gonna be for this season. Another one.
This is Lola. This is my girl.
Oh.
Okay, I need to get a puppy for this. Okay, apparently I need to get a puppy now because I feel kind of out of class here.
Yeah, you need to. Yeah. But like I was saying, I think it's going to be at a super speedway because I think it really is going to depend on their engine package, especially for this. I think it's 670 horsepower that they're using pretty much. Last year it was okay, but it really wasn't great, especially Roush's specifically, and Ford as a whole took a downturn. Even Penske. So, it's going to depend on who they get for the engine development, how long they've been developing the engine. And I really think that, their super speedway package, just like all the Fords have been pretty strong. So I'm not concerned about that. It's more of going to be of, how consistently can they perform at all the other racetracks, which, with Brad's experience and a little bit more effort in the engine department of Roush Yates, I think they could pull off a couple wins this season for sure.
Yeah, see, I'm going to be the Debbie Downer. I will say they will not reach victory lane 2022. I think for next year, they will reach victory lane in 2023. But I think for right now, I don't think they will. And you do have Brad Keselowski. Really enough said with Brad Keselowski. He's a very talented driver, even in his kind of later years. He's still talented. He's still getting the job done. But you do have a stable that's really kind of down the dumps the last 2 years. Cars, they're not really expect, even though it's not going to be a problem anymore. And just really brand new everything for Roush. And hopefully I'm going to be proven wrong because I do have a soft spot for Roush. But I just don't see it happening besides Super Speedway. Just a random off super speedway race like Daytona or Talladega. I don't see it happening. So I'm going to go red flag for that one.
That's the kind of statement I would expect from a man who doesn't own a dog. Daimler statement.
Oh, no.
I'm just teasing, Aaron. I'm just teasing. Don't come beat me up.
No. I'm out here, guys. Bye. I'm sad now. I'm just sad now. But see, I did own a dog for over nearly 18 years, and sadly she passed away back in 2020.
It's hard to get over that. It's hard to get another one when you lose one, when you've had them for that long and you're that attached. It just takes a long time to get over it. I went for about 4 or 5 years because I was just so heartbroken when I lost my first lab. I just couldn't go get another dog. But anyway,
especially we got her at a very kind of dark time in our lives, and she's kind of that bright spot at that silver lining in the sky that we always came home to, and just kind of hugged and she said, "You know what? It's going to be okay.
Yeah.
We're just going to be okay."
Absolutely.
It's just hard to move on.
It is. All right, what else you got? Let's get back to racing.
But moving on. All right, number 3 of the night in the final one. So guys, go ahead and let's go ahead and participate in this one. Stuart Haas Racing will have more wins in 2022 than RFK and RCR. Just throwing RCR into the mix. Green flag or red flag? Zach, we'll start with you.
Are we combining Roush, Fenway, Keselowski Racing?
According to the wording of this question, Roush Fenway, Keselowski, and RCR, I'm guessing combined.
Yes, combined.
That's a hard question. I am going to say red flag. I think, Brad Keselowski, if you were just talking about Roush, Fenway, Keselowski and Stuart Haas, I would say Stuart Haas all the way. But if you're combining Richard Childress Racing, they have a pretty strong team. I think combining both of them, I think they're going to produce the same, if not more, wins than SHR. Because you got to think, even though you got Custer and you got Briscoe, who are pretty good, but they have struggled on anywhere besides road courses. So, you're asking a lot of Harvick. But yeah, that's a hard one. That is a hard one.
So what's your final answer?
Yes,
I said, I'm sorry. I said red flag.
Okay.
So Roush, Fenway, Kozlowski, and RCR are going to have more wins or the same.
All right, I am saying this is a green flag. I think RCR gets to victory lane. I think RFK gets to victory lane, but I think we see Stuart Haas reemerging as a more top-tier team this year. I felt like from the playoffs on, we were starting to see a lot more speed out of them than we had seen previously. So I think they are starting to get things figured out a little bit. I think RFK and RCR both get wins, but I think Stuart Haas probably brings home 4 to 5 wins this year. So I'm going to say green flag in favor of Stuart Haas.
I think it'll be a green flag, but I don't think they're going to have the amount of wins this year as Tom thinks. I think Storehouse Racing may get 1 or 2 wins, maybe 3, maybe 2 with Harvick, and I think maybe 1 or 2 with another driver. Roush, Fenway, Kozlowski have already said I don't think they're going to win in 2022. RCR, I do think they will be in victory lane this year. I think Tyler Reddick just is fine on the verge of getting over that hump and getting that first win. I'm still high on Tyler Reddick. I think I'm gonna give him a win this season. Maybe even Austin Dillon another win this season, as his kind of 1 win every 2 years, kind of thing. So I'll give RCR 2. I think Storehouse Racing is going to have more wins than both of them in 2022. And so that will conclude green flag, red flag, and God, I missed that.
Okay, a couple things here real quick before we go to our next segment. Mike Hora wants to know if we're going to be doing a watch party and a 5-minute delay on the Clash. I don't know. We haven't discussed that. Give us some time to discuss it because we'll be on the air next Tuesday. Let us discuss that and figure out what everybody's schedules are and what everybody wants to do. And let's come back to you with an answer on that one. But we had a lot of fun doing a watch party last year for the final race of the season. We definitely want to do more of those. But we haven't discussed the Clash yet, so give us a chance to get back to you on that one. One more shout out to some friends of mine. Okay, one more shout out to some friends of mine. Ace Petty runs a league on NASCAR Heat 5 called a Chicken Foot Racing League. They're putting on a huge race this weekend. It is in the dirt at Eldora on NASCAR Heat 5 on Xbox. If you've ever seen one of the events Ace Petty puts on, it's always a great show, a great first-class event. I'm going to put a link up here to Chicken Foot Racing, which will give you all of the information on it, and to the Twitch stream where he is going to be broadcasting it. But the race is called the Devil Dash. It's Saturday at 8 o'clock. Tune in. It will be a great show. If you like online racing, or even if you don't, check it out on Twitch. It will be a great show. You will be entertained. Saturday, 8 o'clock. So there we go. I think Jordan Martin is going to be racing in that. I'm not sure if Zach or Simoleons are or not.
I cannot. I have a networking party, but I can tell you the roster right now. We have Johnny Cato is going to be racing in it. Suspect Dirt, Hexels, Jay Royster, Young Money, Notre Dame, Suspect Lost, Suspect Spotted. So we got a bunch of guys from the league that we created coming out there and racing and cheering them on. So hopefully maybe we can get a shout out from them too, and maybe see if So go ahead and watch it.
I will be tuning in. So let's go on our next event, which let's talk about last year, and let's kind of share and fans chime in with what you guys think if you're watching with us. Favorite moment of the season. And I will go first here. My favorite moment of the season was AJ Allmendinger's win at the Indy Roval. Allmendinger has had a guy who's kind of been up and down his career. He kind of refound himself when he got hooked up with Matt Collig. He's such an enthusiastic guy. He's such a likable character. And to see him step up from the Xfinity Series and grab a cup win I thought was a great moment. And it meant so much to him because it was such an example of the highs and lows of racing, because he had raced in the Xfinity Series the day before and felt like he gave away a win. And he was really disappointed. Then comes back the next day and gets the highest of highs by grabbing the win in the Cup Series. So seeing the Dinger win at the Indy Rover was definitely my favorite moment of the season. So, Aaron, you want to go next?
I will. And if you watched the podcast back during this week, you'll know how much I loved the night racing at Bristol. It was an elimination race for both the Truck, Xfinity, and the Cup Series that weekend. And holy smokes, did it not disappoint. That was just 3 nights of just beating and banging, no holds bar racing that just makes Bristol bristle. And that is my favorite moment of the weekend.
Hey, Mike Hoare is with you because he was talking about that was the regular season finale for the Xfinity Series at Bristol. So Hoare is with you there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, oh my God, that was just an amazing weekend. I mean, it didn't matter what racing you had. It was in trucks, Xfinity Cup. It didn't matter. They were all fantastic shows, and I would have loved to have been to any of them. And so to me, that says Bristol is finally back after years of just kind of lackluster racing. That was my favorite moment. Zach, what about you?
Absolutely. I was totally going to say that if you hadn't, because I just absolutely loved the Bristol race, especially Xfinity Series race.
Yep.
So at the end, you didn't know who was going to win. But I will go with Michael McDowell winning the Daytona 500 for sure as my best moment. He is a great man, and I think that he has been underappreciated in his NASCAR career, and mostly because of his funding. And I think to see him get his first win and win the Daytona 500, I think it was just awesome. I couldn't believe it, and I'm so happy for him even now, almost a year later. So that was my favorite moment of the season.
Okay, now, aside from favorite moment of the season, favorite race from last year. So what was the favorite race you had? So, Aaron, go with you.
Well, I mean, Zach and I pretty much already said it here, but I'm going to go with the Xfinity Bristol race. I mean, just like in that episode, I'm going to sound like a broken record and say the same thing 4 different times. Say the same thing 4 different times in 4 different ways. But that race was just, again, no holds bar, beating and banging. Everybody wants that win so bad. I mean, you have about 4 drivers all capable of winning it. And in the end, it came down to 2 drivers literally wrecking at the line to win it. And eventually my boy, AJ Almandinger, got that win and got the regular season points championship to go along with it. And it was just a very chaotic and wonderful moment in NASCAR history. And God, I would love to see that race again, to be honest with you.
And let's not besides the fact it was just a great moment by itself, the significance of it, because that was a 40-point swing. As you get 5 points for the win, so the Dinger got 5 and took 5 away from Austin Cindric. You get 15 going into the playoffs as the regular season champion, and that decided the regular season championship. So that put 20 more points on the side of the ledger for Dinger and took 20 away from Austin Cindric. So it was a 40-point swing. So that had playoff implications too.
It did. I mean, eventually it didn't really matter for either of them because Hamilton won the championship.
But we didn't know that at the time.
But by the time we didn't know that. But and really that kind of solidified that Dinger wasn't really just this road course master. He could win on the short tracks and the mile and a halves too.
Yeah.
And so
Zach, what do you got?
Solidified him.
Oh, I am going to go with the Darlington Southern 500 battle. At the end there with between Denny Hamlin and Kyle Larson. I thought he was gonna get to him, and he just almost pulled that terrific slide job, but he didn't get it done. And Denny Hamlin ended up winning it. They had a great battle all race, and it was just wonderful to see such hard racing and and coming down to the line there.
Yeah, that was the race that coined two terms. That was where we got the term he video gamed it, where you just get full sin. And then when Truex was talking to him afterwards, and he said the wall glue, where you get stuck on the wall in the video games and can't get all of it. We got two new phrases out of that: wall glue and video gaming it. I am going to say any elimination race. Okay, so NASCAR, I criticized them for something last year, but my gosh, did they do the schedule right? You had Martinsville, and we had, Denny Hamlin throwing a temper tantrum at the end of that one and trying to bang into the front of Chase Elliott after when he was doing the burnout. Okay, you had the Roval, which was really the apex of the rivalry between Elliott and Harvick. And you had the Bristol night race. And I will even throw in the regular season finale of the Daytona night race as kind of an elimination race because that set the playoff field. But NASCAR, I thought, did a great job of creating a lot of excitement and putting the elimination races at the right tracks where it lived up to all the hype and all the excitement you would hope for in elimination races. So I'm going to say any elimination race was my favorite. Okay, so biggest surprise from last year, and it can be a positive or a negative, but what was the biggest surprise for you guys last year?
Is Zach going to go first?
Yeah, sure. For me, I thought it was Penske's downfall and decline. They started off the season really strong, and then when it came playoff time, they just didn't seem to be a factor. When you consider the fact that they won the championship in 2018, they had guys up there in 2019. They had all three cars in the playoff in 2020, and then again two cars fighting for the championship in 2020 as well in the Final Four to nobody in the Final Four. It was a shock, and I think they had the cars that they probably could have done it. But if you looked at the raw speed, but they just for whatever reason could not compete in the playoffs, and I think that was a shock. Not having anybody in the Final Four after that good start to the season was kind of shocking.
Aaron, what say you?
We'll say to Zach's point, Keselowski really was kind of middling. Logano very much middling as well. But Blaney, he kind of did get a little bit screwed there kind of towards the end of his playoff run. But anyway. Honestly, the big surprise this year is kind of like the rise of RCR again. Of course, you have Tyler Reddick kind of just making his, his name being known now as kind of like, hey, this guy can potentially be a first-time winner. I mean, he's been competitive at Texas. He's been competitive at the Roval. He's been competitive at at Road America. He's been competitive at all sorts of different tracks. And so, while he's not really up there yet to kind of break through, he has been making his name known and saying, "Yeah, I'm here to race." And even though we're kind of in like mid-tier kind of equipment, I can take this equipment and be competitive. And so I think with this new car, he might be going on tear next season, but for last season, RCR as a whole, of course, Tyler Reddick was up there. You got, Austin Dillon kind of coming back up there and potentially making it a full RCR roster into the playoffs. Unfortunately, they had to choose one of them. But you know what? I think RCR's comeback was very good for the sport last season.
I'm kind of going to go a little bit the same direction as Zach, and I'm going to say that the decline of Stuart Haas Racing was the biggest surprise to me. I know that it was a surprise when Harvick didn't make the Final Four in 2020, but I just didn't see that team struggling like that virtually all year. Harvick went winless. The organization got one win, and that was Almirola at New Hampshire. I just did not see them struggling like that. So that was the biggest surprise to me of the year. I want to interject a couple things here. We got a couple things to do here where we're going to preview the season a little bit. But after that, we're going to do a little fan interaction. So if you have questions, if you have comments, If you have things you want us to discuss on the air, think about what you want. And when we get fan interaction, throw out some of your comments, and we'll see if we can get through a few of them here as we wrap up the show. But think about what you want to hear us talk about. But speaking of things we're talking about, let me ask a question. What are you most looking forward to this year? And give me one prediction for everybody this year. Give me one prediction from you of something that you think is going to happen this year. So you guys look like you're caught off guard here. Do you want me to go first on this one?
Go ahead.
You guys look like you're deep in thought here.
Okay. Yeah, go. You start us off.
My prediction, you heard it here first. NASCAR's next first-time winner will be, drum roll please, Tyler Reddick from RCR. The man was becoming highly competitive last year. We talked about the resurgence of RCR. I am saying you're going to see Tyler Reddick hoisting a trophy somewhere this year, and he's going to be the next first-time winner. So that is my prediction. What I am looking forward to is I want to see if this new car creates more parity, or if we just see the same big name, big dollar, big sponsorship teams running up front. So I really want to see how much this new car levels the playing field, or if it is still a game of money and sponsorship. So that's what I am looking forward to and what my prediction is. All right, Aaron, let's go to you.
What I'm looking forward to this season is kind of like what Tom had alluded to just now, how the racing will be. Will we see kind of more parity, or will it be kind of the big name teams like Hendrick and Joe Gibbs and Penske and all of them really kind of up front and dominating majority of the races? So that's what I'm looking forward to, because supposedly this new car is supposed to make things more even, more balanced for everybody, an even playing field, which means anybody can win any race on any time. But we will see if that's really true or not really. And one prediction I'm going to interject here. I think Penske is going to win the championship.
Penske.
Yes.
Wow. You going to name a driver or just an organization?
If you were to point a gun to my head and say name a driver, I'm going to go on a limb and say Ryan Blaney. Because out of the three Penske drivers this season, Ryan Blaney had the most potential.
He had the best season, in my opinion. 3 wins.
He really did.
Yeah, I'm a huge Ryan Blaney fan, so I hope you're right. You will get no argument from me on that one. I hope that one comes true. So, Mike Hora, that might be the boldest prediction we've seen.
I mean, I'm kind of more. I'm actually kind of believing that. Of course, maybe like Talladega, or maybe Talladega or Daytona. But
Mike, if you add a non-plate track to that, it will be a much bolder prediction. I'm just saying. Okay.
They got a top 10.
No.
They got a top 10. What are you guys talking about?
At a restrictor plate track with half the field wrecked. Okay.
Yeah, half the field wrecked.
Okay, I know. I thought you guys were talking about just a top 25 finish in general.
That's what Mike's saying. Well, I'm going. It becomes a lot bolder prediction if he adds a non-plate
season finish. That's what I was about to say. Season finish. Yes. That is a bold prediction.
That is.
I don't know.
No.
I think I need to see the cars on the track first.
I think I hope your employer doesn't have a drug testing policy. I'm thinking you're under the influence right here.
Speaking of drug policy, we did have Sav in here a little bit ago. He came in here about half an hour ago.
Okay, so Zach,
give
us a prediction of what you're looking forward to.
All right. Well, I'm gonna leave what I'm looking forward to last. I'm gonna say I'm one. Oh wait, I did not read the question. What I'm looking forward to the most this season is the new teams and sponsors. I am so excited to see some of these expanding teams like 2311, Trackhouse, and some of the newer teams like Teams Hattsburg and there's a bunch that I'm not naming, but I'm super excited to see these guys, see how they, with the new car and everything, how apparently, money is not necessarily, development. You don't need to develop your own car, that kind of thing. It's gonna severely close up, I think, and I'm really excited to see how all those teams perform, as well as all the new sponsors that we've seen. Some of these schemes that we've been seeing pump out in all 3 series have been pretty awesome to see. New blood in the sport and new sponsors supporting NASCAR. So I think that's awesome. That's what I'm really looking forward to, and seeing some of those teams succeed. As far as my bold prediction, oh man, see, I wasn't prepared because I might have been on drugs whenever I wrote this. I will say that I think.
Drum roll, please.
I will say, and this might not be as bold as some think, but I'm going to say both Roush Fenway Keselowski racing cars make the playoffs.
Interesting. Interesting. I thought you were going to say like Kyle Larson wins 5 races, and I was going to say, way to go out on a limb, Zach. But that's interesting.
I mean, hold on. So like just 5 races, or like 5 races at least?
I was just giving an example. I'm not making that as a prediction. That's a no-brainer. Okay, so you have something as a fan. You're tuned in. You want to hear us discuss something?
Hey,
give us a comment here and let us know what you would like to see us think or discuss, or what questions you have.
Put Racing Refresh's bold prediction up.
2 new manufacturers coming by 2024. That's got to be Dodge and Honda, because they're the only ones on the plate.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, if we were running 5 manufacturers,
that'd be awesome.
That would be
that'd be cool.
Competition.
That would be awesome. I would. That's almost hard to believe, but that would be awesome. Yeah. They're talking about it though. So
they are. So I got to say, correct me if I'm wrong, but they're rolling out a high horsepower, low downforce package to a lot more tracks this year than we had last year, right?
Yes, it's a 650 package across the board. I think short tracks have a little bit less, if I'm not mistaken. And of course, they have the super speedway package and road course package.
I think that in and of itself is going to swing the pendulum back in the favor of the big teams, because it's going to take a lot of engineering, a lot of whatever they do, simulator time, a lot of computer, whatever they do. It's going to take a lot to get their hands around that, to figure out how to make that handle with a new car. I think that favors the big teams. I think the fact that we're going to this high horsepower, low downforce package so much is going to swing the pendulum back towards the bigger teams. And I think that's going to hurt smaller teams, because they just aren't going to have the resources to figure out how to do it.
Absolutely.
But
I agree.
Jordan has a question. Rookie of the Year predictions.
All right, so right now we got Austin Dillon for sure. We got
Austin Dillon.
Or no, excuse me, yeah. But Austin Cedric is who I was referring to. We got Harrison Burton, yeah.
I'm going to go with Justin Haley at Colling.
Really?
Does he qualify as a rookie?
Technically, yes, I think.
First full season, right?
Well, first full season.
Did he run? No, he ran with Spire.
I thought that was a part-time ride.
That's right. Yeah.
I think he ran the full season.
Okay.
Or near it.
If he's eligible, he's my pick. If not, I'll go Austin Cindric.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Austin Cindric, just simply because his road racing prowess. I think you got. I think you have to pick him, especially.
Yeah. I may also go here. I may also go Austin Cindric as well, just because he's with Penske and Penske Power. So I'll have to go with him.
Yeah, I think he's definitely in probably as good equipment or better than anybody else. But looking at Rookie of the Year contenders, I am only seeing Austin Cindric, Harrison Burton, and Todd Gilliland.
Todd Gilliland.
Front Row Motorsports, number 38.
Oh, right. Yep, that's right. I'm getting names mixed up today because I thought Todd Gilliland was David Gilliland. I thought, wait, hold on, what? Wasn't he in the NASCAR field? Oh no, Todd Gilliland. Okay,
that's a pretty old rookie right there.
Yeah.
I think Cindric, but I will still say that I just think Matt Collick knows how to put a good product on the track. He doesn't rush into it. He does it when it's time, and he won't do it unless he knows he can do it and do it well. So I think Justin Haley is going to finish ahead of Austin Cindric in the points, even though he isn't a rookie. So I'm going to say Justin Haley outperforms Austin Cindric, but I really think Austin Cindric is in drastically better equipment than anybody else there. And I think it gives him a huge advantage.
Yeah.
And his road racing prowess. I mean, the man won nearly every single road race in Xfinity, and then even came up to Cup and nearly won.
Yep, and was competitive there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I got.
Okay, Mike has got a question here. How do we see Kurt Busch doing the 2311?
Honestly, I always thought he was going to go to Trackhouse, but I think this is an even better situation for him. Toyota's going, 2311 is going to get Toyota's engines better, their best engines. Let's just, and on your point earlier, Tom, engines are pretty much the only thing that they can develop right now. So that is going to become a huge thing. And of course, some of these satellite teams are not going to get the best engines possible. I think Toyota gives them 2311 best engines possible. I think Kurt Busch's experience is going to help him. And I don't think it's a bold prediction to say he won't get a win. If he can win in Chip Ganassi equipment, it's been on the decline. I definitely think that he can win in Toyota equipment in 2311.
I don't know how he's going to do, but I do think how he does relative to how his teammate Bubba Wallace does is going to say a lot. Because if he significantly outperforms Bubba, then I think that's going to be a bad sign for Bubba, and that's going to show that there's a big talent gap there, and that the problem wasn't the equipment that they were in last year, it was the driver. Now, if they have similar results, be it good or bad, then I think that speaks very well for Bubba, because it says you've got a seasoned, experienced veteran that knows how to win, knows how to drive these cars, knows how to give feedback to crew chiefs, and knows all that, and is probably potentially a Hall of Fame driver. And if Bubba has similar results to him, it speaks very well for the talent level of Bubba, and it says that the equipment was the bigger issue last year than the driver. But I think however it goes, whether there is a gap or whether they are the same, and whether that same is up here or down there, it's going to tell a lot about Bubba. So I think Kurt's performance is going to show more about the equipment and Bubba than it does about him. But I really don't have any idea how he's going to do. I think he's probably going to grab a win somewhere, because I think he's won every year, regardless of who he's been with, and every place he's gone, he has made that team better. So I would expect nothing different. I think he's going to grab a win, and I think he's going to make 2311 better.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I think this is going to be the proving year for Bubba Wallace. I mean, you do have Kurt Busch, who's kind of been the leader in trying to invigorate or reinvigorate teams. We saw it with Phoenix Racing a little, well, not really. We saw it with Furniture Row. We saw it with Chip Ganassi. We saw it nearly everywhere he went. And so this really put up or shut up for Bubba Wallace this season. And if he wants to stay or have a job probably for next season, he's got to prove this year. And Kurt Busch is really the kind of guy to kind of like teach the young lads, saying, hey, so this is how you do this. This is how you give feedback. This is what I do for these road courses. This is how you set the car up. And so this is going to be, I think, a very improved year for Bubba Wallace with Kurt Busch at the helm. And so I think he'll be doing very well this season. You
also have to consider, it might take him a couple races in order to get acclimated with the team. I mean, it's a whole new car, new engine, different kind of idiosyncrasies with that new car. It might take him a couple races to get situated, and if he still outperforms Bubba, that's going to be bad news. So you don't expect even a talent like Kurt Busch to come in immediately and be productive in a brand new car. He might be, and that would say a lot for sure. So
yeah.
All right, let's do one. Oh, sorry, I was going to say, go ahead. We'll do one more fan interaction after Aaron gives his comments, and then we will start to wrap this thing up.
Yeah. But I will say, Bo Wallace has not tested the new cars yet. I think he's been slated on any of the tests so far. If not, I think for one of the very early ones. And so it's been all Kurt Busch throughout these tests they've been doing. As I think the more time he gets behind those new cars, and the more time he gets behind that team, the more he's going to quickly catch up with how the team rolls and how he can kind of coerce with those guys. And so this is going to be, and Bubba also doesn't really have much of an excuse here besides I didn't really get much testing time.
That's true, but by the same token, if they come out and both of them struggle, it's going to be an indictment on the equipment and a validation that it wasn't all Bubba.
Yeah.
Which the Bubba haters are going to say that that's what they've been saying, or that's the Bubba lovers are going to say all along it's been the equipment. The Bubba haters are going to say he's basically in Gibbs equipment and can't perform. But I think now that you got a benchmark there with Kurt Busch, it's going to say a lot. It's going to say a lot about the equipment. It's going to say a lot about Bubba, good or bad, on both sides.
Yeah, I will agree with that.
All right, last fan interaction. Mike Hora again. Who do you think will be the first team to get busted under new penalties?
Who?
Oh, come on. You guys really have to think about this? It's going to be Hendrick. You have Chad Canals, the mad scientist, the man who's probably could have a wing in the Hall of Fame devoted to all the ways he has got busted over the years. And he's not just a crew chief for one team. He's like whatever it is, the competition director. He's overseeing how every Hendrick car is built at the shop. You think he's not already in, as he likes to say, in the gray area of the rule book? Oh, Hendrick will be the first team to get busted.
As much as I would agree with you on that, I would have to say Stuart Haas Racing, just simply because I think they're going to be trying really, really, really hard to gain back some of the speed that they did not have last season. And they're probably going to make some mistakes. And like I said, the engine departments in each team have had some turnover and people leaving and important people leaving out of Hendrick as well. So, you never know. But like you said, Chad Canals always finds a way to cheat.
And let me say this. I'm not anti-Chad Canals, okay? I believe in the world of NASCAR, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. And even somebody, Dale Jr., who's got the most squeaky clean image of anybody, has said on more than one occasion, he said, I hope I never drove a car that was completely legal. I love the Junior Johnson and Smokey Eunuch era, where, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. So I'm not anti-Chad Canals or anti-Hendrick with those statements. Sorry, Simoleons.
Oh, no, you're fine. Now, see, I was going to go kind of the other way and say Penske, just because they've kind of been notorious for getting busted, kind of more frequently than, we'll say over the last few years than Storehouse Racing has. And it's going to be a guy like Joey Logano. I guarantee it's going to be Joey Logano, the first one to get busted.
Interesting. So we got three different takes on this. We got Penske, Stuart, Haas, and Hendrick. We'll have to save this and come back to it and see who was right.
Yeah,
we might have to. We might definitely have to.
The only thing I will say is if it's not Hendrick, it's not that they didn't do it. It's that they found a way to not get caught doing it.
Yep.
So, or maybe none of them do it. I don't know.
Maybe. We'll see.
Or all three.
Okay. Yeah. All right. It is time for us to wrap this show up for the night. I think we're off to a pretty good start. But let's hit our white flag statements here. What do you guys have to say to wrap it up?
Zach, want to go?
Yeah, I'll just say, keep an open mind of this clash race. This is an exhibition race. It brings it into a new market. This could potentially lead to going to some of the smaller tracks around America, some of the legacy tracks, and potentially bring more sponsorship to the series. So, I would say keep an open mind. Let's see what it does, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and we move on for the next season. At least they're trying something new.
Very good. Aaron, what say you?
Well, my I guess closing thought for tonight is that even though the show has just come back, and I gotta say I love being on the show, I may have to complain about some of these penalties coming out because I'm still not used to these number changes yet. While some of them do look fantastic, JC Elliott's paint scheme looks absolutely fantastic. The Advent Health car for Trackhouse Racing looks absolutely fantastic. I love it. The Christopher Bell paint scheme, the Rings paint scheme looks atrocious. They did not use that space whatsoever. In fact, they scrunched up the steam for it. You have all that available space. You have a mile-long space, and you use none of it. So I'm like, come on. That's why we moved the freaking numbers up. You just use the space, man. I mean, hell, Harvick has the rain scheme, and it looks great. What happened to Christopher Bell? Do you guys sound like Christopher Bell or something? You just kind of put your logo on it? But no, that's my closing thought. I'm going to be very attentive to this number change and just kind of see who's making most of it, who's really not, and really did it really matter?
Okay. All right. Mike Horace saying the Clash is the real version of the Dodge Speedway on NASCAR Thunder 2005.
Yes, thank you for noticing that too. Thank you, Mike.
Racing Refresh saying Michael Waltrip Racing when we're talking about penalties. Yeah. Michael Waltrip Racing is the only team I've ever heard of that's actually in the negative in the points for a while because they got a penalty and then didn't qualify for the Daytona 500. So they were negative points for a while. No, my parting comment is it's good to be back on the air. I haven't had this much fun, smiled this much, or laughed this much probably since our season-ending show last year. So it is great to be back on the air. Glad to be back with you guys. Glad to be talking racing. It'll be even more fun when we have real races to talk about. And want to thank our viewers. As always, we have great viewers, insightful comments, thought-provoking intelligence. I always say we do not have the viewers who voted to have the Bushy McBush race as the name of the race when whoever it was opened it up. We do not have those crazy internet people. We've got the thoughtful, insightful, intelligent, well-informed viewers, and I love interacting with them. I love reading the comments. So thank you guys for tuning in. Very much appreciated.
And Adam Lauer better be back next week.
Yeah, I know. He wasn't here this week, man. I was waiting for him. I was waiting for his kind of this pseudo love message to pop up.
Yeah, he was even made a comment on our promo video.
Wow.
I had to look at the promo video and see if there was some comment that he couldn't make it, but he was planning on being here.
Yeah, Adam. Okay, if you see this video after we're done going live, we missed you, man. Where were you?
I know.
We did. Zach missed you especially.
I know.
Zach had to hold back the tears for over an hour.
You got to do your diaper change. It's your turn this time.
Adam may be stalking Zach. He may be outside his window looking in. He may be watching this live by peeping in Zach's window. We don't know.
Oh, Lord.
But At any rate, before we go into any lower depths, let's end the broadcast there. So thank you guys for tuning in. Missed you guys, both my co-hosts and the viewers we got. Thank you all for tuning in. And we will catch you every Tuesday at 9 o'clock, pretty much from now until they crown a champion in November. So tell your friends, tell your neighbors, get this viewership up so I can get my computer fan replaced. Thank you guys. We will catch you later.